Welcome back to Narrative Network. What if a simple court appearance revealed a story so powerful it left everyone in the room stunned? This is the extraordinary journey of Marcus Bennett, a homeless black veteran who was charged with trespassing. But what happened during his hearing changed everything. From heartbreak to redemption, this is a tale of resilience, compassion, and the fight for justice. Stay until the end to witness how Marcus's courage and truth not only transformed his life, but sparked a movement that would inspire the world. How do you think one person's story can make such a difference? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video to spread this incredible message. Let's dive in. Marcus Bennett was a man who once wore his uniform with pride. A former U.S. Army sergeant, Marcus had served 3 tours overseas, earning medals for bravery and leadership. But life after the military was not kind to him. When he returned home, he struggled to adjust to civilian life. The trauma of war left him battling PTSD, and the lack of support for veterans only made things worse. Over time, Marcus lost everything: his job, his home, and his connections to the family he had once cherished. By the time he hit his 40s, he was living on the streets, shuffling between shelters and surviving on handouts. Despite his circumstances, Marcus remained dignified, often helping others in the homeless community and volunteering at a local food kitchen when he could. But one cold winter night, desperate for warmth, Marcus found himself in trouble. Seeking shelter, he broke into the lobby of an upscale apartment complex and fell asleep on a bench. Security found him there, and the building's management decided to press charges for trespassing. Marcus's arrest sparked a small stir in the community. News of a homeless black veteran being charged with trespassing reached local media, and people had mixed reactions. Some saw him as a criminal who had no business breaking the law, while others sympathized, arguing that society had failed him. In the days leading up to his court appearance, Marcus's story spread. Social media platforms picked up the news, with hashtags like Help Marcus and Veteran Justice gaining traction. Community leaders, activists, and fellow veterans rallied behind him, urging the justice system to show compassion. On the day of his court appearance, the courtroom was packed. Journalists lined the back row, community members filled the seats, and a few protesters held signs outside. Marcus entered wearing a borrowed suit, his hands clasped tightly in front of him. His face was calm but tired, reflecting years of hardship. Judge Eleanor Reed, known for her no-nonsense demeanor, presided over the case. "Mr. Marcus Bennett, you are charged with trespassing. How do you plead?" "Not guilty, Your Honor," Marcus replied, his voice steady but soft. The prosecution presented its case, emphasizing that trespassing was a crime regardless of circumstances. The building manager, a stern-looking man in a tailored suit, testified that rules needed to be upheld to maintain order. When it was Marcus's turn to speak, he stood up slowly, his shoulders squared. What followed left everyone in the courtroom speechless. "Your Honor," Marcus began, his voice carrying a quiet strength. "I never thought I'd find myself in this situation. I served this country for 15 years, putting my life on the line for the freedoms we all enjoy. I came back hoping for a fresh start, but instead, I found a system that turned its back on me." He paused, glancing around the room. "When I returned, I struggled with PTSD. I couldn't hold a job because of the nightmares and anxiety. I asked for help, but the VA was overwhelmed and I fell through the cracks. I lost my house, my dignity, and eventually my hope." Marcus took a deep breath, his voice breaking slightly. "That night, I wasn't trying to cause trouble. I was just cold. I thought if I could sit in that lobby for a few hours, I'd be safe. I didn't mean to trespass. I just didn't want to freeze to death." His words hung in the air, the weight of his truth pressing down on everyone present. After Marcus's testimony, something extraordinary happened. One by one, people in the courtroom stood to speak on his behalf. An elderly woman, a retired teacher, said, "I've seen Marcus at the soup kitchen. He's always helping others, even when he has nothing himself. He's not a criminal. He's a good man who's been failed by the system." A fellow veteran stood up next. "I served with Marcus. He was one of the bravest soldiers I ever knew. He saved my life during a mission in Afghanistan. If anyone deserves a second chance, it's him." Even the building manager, who had been so adamant about pressing charges, began to waver. "I didn't know the full story," he admitted. "Perhaps I acted too harshly." Judge Reed, who had listened intently throughout the hearing, leaned forward. "Mr. Bennett," she said, "your story is a stark reminder of the challenges our veterans face. While I cannot ignore the law, I can acknowledge that this case goes beyond simple trespassing." After a brief deliberation, she announced her decision. "The court hereby dismisses the charges against Marcus Bennett. Instead, I order a review of local support systems for veterans and recommend that the defendant receive assistance to address his current circumstances." The courtroom erupted in applause. Tears welled up in Marcus's eyes as he realized that for the first time in years, he was being given a chance to rebuild his life. Following the trial, the community rallied around Marcus. A local nonprofit offered him temporary housing and therapy for his PTSD. A veterans organization helped him secure a job at their outreach center, where he began working to assist other homeless veterans. Marcus threw himself into his new role, using his experiences to connect with those who felt lost and abandoned. His story became a catalyst for change, sparking conversations about the systemic failures that left so many veterans homeless. Over time, Marcus's impact grew. He became a public speaker, sharing his story at schools, community centers, and even congressional hearings. His testimony helped secure increased funding for veterans programs and inspired the creation of a new shelter for homeless veterans in his city. Despite his newfound recognition, Marcus remained humble. "I'm just one man," he often said, "but if my story can make a difference, then everything I've been through will have been worth it." Years later, Marcus was invited to an event honoring local heroes. As he took the stage, he looked out at the crowd and saw faces he recognized, people he had helped, veterans who had once been in his shoes, and community members who had supported him when he needed it most. "I stand here today because of all of you," Marcus said, his voice filled with gratitude. "You saw me when I felt invisible. You gave me a second chance when I thought there was none. Together we proved that no one is beyond redemption and no one is truly alone." The audience rose to their feet, applauding the man who had turned his pain into purpose. Marcus Bennett's work didn't stop at his local community. His powerful story and relentless advocacy gained national attention, inspiring organizations across the country to adopt similar models of support for homeless veterans. He became a sought-after speaker, traveling to cities and towns where his words sparked hope and action. The Marcus Bennett Center for Hope became the flagship for a network of shelters and resource hubs nationwide. Each center provided housing, mental health services, job training, and legal assistance for veterans, ensuring they had a path to reintegrate into society. Marcus often said, "This isn't just about giving people a place to sleep, it's about restoring their dignity." As Marcus rebuilt his life, he reconnected with his estranged family. His younger sister, Grace, had spent years searching for him, but had been unable to locate him during his time on the streets. When she saw him on the news, sharing his story during a televised congressional hearing, she immediately reached out. "Marcus, it's me," Grace said tearfully when they met in person after nearly a decade apart. "I thought I'd lost you." Marcus hugged her tightly, overwhelmed by emotions he hadn't felt in years. "I thought I'd lost myself," he admitted, "but I'm finding my way back." Their reunion became a turning point for Marcus, reminding him of the importance of family. and the strength of unconditional love. Marcus's growing platform allowed him to push for deeper reforms. He lobbied for increased funding for veteran support programs, better access to mental health care, and comprehensive housing initiatives. His efforts, combined with those of other advocates, led to the passage of the Veterans Support Act, which allocated billions of dollars to address homelessness and mental health challenges among veterans. Despite the bureaucratic hurdles and resistance he faced, Marcus never gave up. "I'm not fighting for myself," he often said. "I'm fighting for every veteran who feels invisible, abandoned, or forgotten." To commemorate Marcus's contributions, the city where his story began declared an annual Marcus Bennett Day, dedicated to raising awareness about veteran homelessness and celebrating acts of community compassion. The day was marked by volunteer events, fundraisers, and ceremonies honoring veterans. During the inaugural event, Marcus gave a speech that left the crowd in tears. "I used to sleep on these streets, feeling like a ghost," he said. "Today, I stand here not as a man defined by his hardships, but as proof that change is possible. And that change starts with each of us seeing the humanity in one another." As Marcus grew older, he focused on mentoring younger veterans who were stepping into advocacy roles. He believed in empowering others to lead the movement, ensuring that the fight for justice and support would continue long after he was gone. One of his mentees, a young Marine named Daniel, shared how Marcus's story had inspired him to leave his destructive habits behind and dedicate his life to helping others. "Marcus showed me that my pain didn't have to define me," Daniel said. "He taught me that my story could be a tool for change." In his later years, Marcus took time to reflect on his journey. He often visited the Marcus Bennett Center for Hope, spending hours talking with residents and reminding them of their worth. Despite his achievements, he remained humble, insisting that the credit belonged to the countless people who had supported him along the way. One evening, as he sat in the garden of the center, surrounded by the laughter of veterans and their families, a young boy approached him. "Are you the man who made this place?" the boy asked. Marcus smiled. I helped. But it wasn't just me. It was all of us, working together." The boy nodded thoughtfully. "I want to help people too when I grow up." Marcus's eyes filled with tears. "You will," he said. "And you'll do amazing things." Years after Marcus Bennett's passing, the impact of his life and legacy continued to grow. The Marcus Bennett Foundation became an international organization with over 200 centers worldwide, each tailored to meet the needs of the local community. In addition to serving veterans, the foundation expanded its mission to include displaced families, victims of natural disasters, and those fleeing conflict zones. The organization's guiding principle, "Everyone deserves a second chance," was etched into every center's entrance, reminding all who walked through the doors of Marcus's unwavering belief in the power of redemption and support. Marcus's story was integrated into educational curriculums, becoming a core part of lessons on resilience, empathy, and community service. His journey inspired countless young people to dedicate their lives to helping others. University scholarships were established in his name, awarded to students pursuing careers in social work, psychology, and public policy. One recipient, a young woman named Amara, wrote in her application essay, "Marcus Bennett's story taught me that we don't have to be perfect to make a difference. We just have to care enough to try." Amara went on to become a leader in the foundation, implementing innovative programs that combine technology and community engagement to provide rapid responses to crises. On the 20th anniversary of Marcus Bennett's passing, a global day of service was held in his honor. Volunteers across 30 countries participated in activities ranging from building homes to organizing mental health workshops. The event, named the Day of Hope, became an annual tradition, uniting people from all walks of life in acts of kindness and solidarity. At the flagship center in Marcus's hometown, a special ceremony was held. Veterans who had been helped by Marcus shared their stories, many of them crediting him with saving their lives. One speaker, a woman named Carla, said, "When I met Marcus, I was at my lowest point. He didn't just give me a place to stay, he gave me the belief that I could rebuild my life. Now, I'm paying it forward, just like he taught me." The Bennett family remained deeply involved in the foundation, ensuring that Marcus's vision continued to guide its work. His granddaughter, Elise, became the organization's CEO, bringing fresh energy and ideas to its mission. Under Elise's leadership, the foundation launched the Marcus Bennett Innovation Fund, aimed at developing cutting-edge solutions to address homelessness and mental health challenges. Projects immersive included virtual therapy platforms, mobile housing units, and job training programs integrated with local economies. "Grandpa believed in meeting people where they are," Elise often said. "This fund ensures we're doing that in the most effective ways possible." Marcus's name became synonymous with resilience and hope. Statues were erected in his honor in cities where his centers had made a significant impact. His image, humble yet determined, served as a reminder of the strength it takes to overcome adversity and the power of community to change lives. One statue, placed at the entrance of the National Veterans Memorial, bore an inscription that encapsulated Marcus's philosophy. "True strength lies in lifting others. True wealth lies in the lifts we change." Marcus's story lived on not just in the foundation, but in the countless lives he touched. Veterans who had once been homeless went on to become mentors, teachers, and leaders, carrying forward the lessons Marcus had taught them. Families who had found shelter in his centers built new lives, creating generational ripples of stability and opportunity. In a small corner of the Marcus Bennett Center for Hope, a quiet memorial garden was built, featuring a plaque with Marcus's final words to his team. "Never stop believing in the power of compassion. It's the one thing that can truly change the world." Visitors from around the world came to the garden to reflect, inspired by the man who had transformed his pain into purpose and left a legacy that would endure for generations. Thank you for watching. If this story inspired you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more powerful and heartwarming stories. Share this video with your friends and family to spread the message of resilience and hope. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so leave a comment below, and we'll see you in the next video.